Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today I'll be reviewing Yarn and Colours Super Amazing. This is an Aran weight 100% acrylic yarn, 184 metres or 201 yards per ball, 100 gram balls, retails for about £3.20, currently on sale on Lovecrafts for about £2.40. I always buy my yarn on sale, honestly it's the better thing to do. Anyway, this yarn has become one of my favourites, possibly almost my favourite acrylic yarn. It is absolutely fantastic, but before I get into that I'm just going to tell you what we're going to do in the video. I'll lay this out flat, this finished project, show you that, go over the pros and cons, then I'm going to do a crochet tester. I haven't crocheted myself with it yet, so I'm excited for that. Then I'm going to lay it down, look at some more of the colours within the palette, because this palette is predominantly warm toned. The colours are very saturated and pretty strong. There are some cool tones in it, there are blues, there are purples, and there are a couple of neutrals, sort of creams and beiges, but they're all very similar. They're the very typical ones you'd find in just about any line. So do be aware that if you're looking for something that's muted or pastel or dusty and cool, this is not going to be the colour palette for you. So without wasting any more time, let's get on to the rest of the video. Here's the jumper all laid out. I wanted to show it to you now it's been washed and worn several times. Now the first thing I'll notice is the fuzzies. This type of yarn has a lot of fuzzies that come off of it like that. That for me bothers me. It makes me feel like I'm wearing something that's a bit cheap and easily damaged, because really I haven't worn it that many times, like maybe 3 or something like that. Washed it twice. I washed it on 30 degrees, just a regular wash, hung it on the line to dry, and it's retained shape really well, as acrylics tend to do. It does have that slightly stiff feeling that acrylics tend to have when they've been washed. Some of them have it anyway without them being washed, so there's nothing too poor about that. It still looks good quality. I will say it retains its shape really well. Look at those cuffs. When you use wool, when you've wet it, and especially if you block it, you'll often notice that the cuffs become big and loopy or all stretched out. That doesn't happen with acrylic yarn because it is stiff. As you can see, look at how smooth and nice the stitches remain. Look at how polished that remains. That's something I really love about this yarn, is that it keeps the project looking good quality. And with the fast dry time, this is particularly good for people who live in countries or places where it can be difficult to dry them, say autumn, winter, spring, like me. This thing dried in a matter of minutes. It was nearly dry when it came out of the washing machine because it just didn't hold any water. I really like that. Like I said, there's still lots of fuzzies on it. When you're working with it, it definitely has fuzzies. It's not as bad as some yarns, they don't tend to come off, but it is noticeable when you're working with it that it has like these furry edges. Quite common with acrylic, not something I particularly like, but particularly at this price point I'd say it's pretty good. The colour isn't coming up as well on camera, it's a very, very bright orange. I'll insert a picture if I can find one, but I'm happy with the way this turned out after washing. I'm happy with the way it's retained its shape. It's still soft, but it is a bit stiff. This is a good yarn for people who tend to find wools and yarns, even acrylic, quite itchy, because I know some people complain and say I can't wear acrylic, it really irritates my skin. I haven't found any irritation with this one at all. Very pleasant, very warm, very comfortable, very good for the price point. Honestly, I recommend using this. I'm definitely going to make more jumpers with this yarn because they're so easy to make, they're so quick, and they're just one of those wash it, throw it in the machine, dry it quickly and wear it again type of jumpers. And for the price, I don't mind too much if it has some of this damage. You see, look at all the fuzzies. If you don't like fuzzies, be aware of that, because this yarn does do it, and Stylecraft and some of the others do the same thing, but this one tends to have much longer fuzzies than they do. Look at that, big long fuzzies. Yeah. So the colour selection for this yarn is pretty good, although I would say, following the theme of them being quite bold colours, quite saturated, do be aware of that, because there's not many like soft pastel colours, gentler colours. These are quite strong, and when I was wearing this out, it's not neon, but it looks very bright. It stands out as kind of, not like a high vis, but something along those lines. It's noticeable if you walk in it. It's like a beaming beacon. I had people comment that's a very bright jumper, so do be aware with them if you're not into bright colours or strong saturations, this probably doesn't have the colour palette you're after. Anyway, without rambling anymore, I'm going to get on with the crochet demonstration, because I haven't crocheted with this yarn yet myself, and I'd love to see how it turns out too. So here we have a wrapped ball of Yarn and Colours Super Amazing. I love it when they come in these because they're so much easier to knit from than just the bound up typical skeins. So we have a sustainable yarn collection. Now this is 100% acrylic, so I'm not entirely sure how sustainable acrylic can be because of course it's made from fossil fuels, it's plastic, it's not recyclable, it doesn't biodegrade, so this is a sustainable product designed to minimise its environmental impacts during its whole life cycle. I can understand them perhaps using more ethical dyes and things like that, but I'm never the happiest when they claim sustainable on acrylic, because it also doesn't say it's renewed, 100% recycled acrylic. That's good, that is a start. That's much better than brand new. At least it's being reused from previous products, so I guess that's where it is. I guess they're also perhaps trying to cut down on transport and things like that, but you know, they arrive wrapped in plastic bags too, so I'm going to slightly question this one. Although I will say, if they are genuinely taking steps to be more sustainable and ethical and ecological, then that's fantastic. Props to them. We have Made in Turkey. We have colour 024 Chestnut in dye lot 1. Beautiful colour, deep, warm toned brown, very russet brown, bronze brown, orange brown, lovely colour, very much chestnutty, what I would think of anyway when it was chestnut. Wash on 30 degrees, you can't iron it. 100 grams, we've already been through that. Iron weight recommends 4.5 to 5mm hooks or needles. Normally they go up to 5.5. This does feel like a thinner iron though. If you look at it, it's not exactly the chunkiest iron. I've had bigger ones. Yeah, recommend there's all the gauging. I'm noticing this straight away. I didn't notice that on my other ones, but that's where the end is. But if you see, it's all frazzled. Sometimes they do it because it is a budget. It is a budget acrylic. Sorry, don't know why I can't talk. It does have some damages throughout, like chunks that are very fuzzy, chunks that are frazzled. I noticed that on some of the other ones as well. So do be aware of that. I haven't noticed factory knots. So I've used about 5 balls of this yarn so far, and I haven't noticed factory knots, so I think there was one, which is pretty good. It's lovely and soft to work with, feels pretty strong. This is a 4.5mm hook, by the way. I've already knitted with it on the 4 and 4.5 needles, so I have a good idea of how it works with that. I want to try the crochet though, because I've never crocheted with this yarn. So I'm just going to do some simple chains, and then I'll work a few of the different stitches into them. If you've used this yarn before, let me know in the comments below, or if you're thinking about using it, because this is one I would definitely recommend. It's incredibly soft to work with. It feels, you know when you have a yarn on the hooks and it just feels lovely as you're looping it, or on the needles, it just feels nice. The pull of it's good. I love textures and that, and this is really satisfying. It holds shape well too without too much texture. I mean, this colour has more texture than the orange does, so we'll do some single crochets. What I'm looking for here are 2 things in particular. One is shedding and the other are splits. There was some shedding when I was knitting with it, but it wasn't severe. It wasn't anything beyond what was normal, anything you would expect. I don't like how this yarn has tangled up like this though. I really don't like that. It's these ends. Am I asking a little bit too much? Am I being a bit too rude and a bit too fussy if I say companies should properly finish the end off and do some sort of check on that to make sure that doesn't happen? Because you are paying for a certain amount of yarn and you shouldn't have to cut off like several inches of it, like up to here really, to make sure it's okay and ravelled properly before you start working, especially if you have just enough yarn to finish the project. Right, I'm going to do some half double crochets. This feels like butter as well when you're crocheting with it. as I said, I've only knitted with it, so seeing it crocheted is new for me too. Very soft, I'm not feeling any splits, feels comfortable, it's quite dense as well. Crochet obviously produces a thicker stitch, it is rigid, so it may be warmer if you crochet it than knitted, but it's coming out lovely actually. Sorry. I'm going to do some doubles now. Really lovely to work with. Normally by now when it's a bad yarn I would have the splitsies and I would be annoyed with it, but with this yarn it's not like that at all. Now let's go on and do some triples. These are always one of my favourite stitches to do, even if they look gappy. Do you know what would go nice with this yarn? If you haven't seen it, Google it. King Cole Cosmos. It's like a thread yarn and it has sequin on it. The gold one I think would look lovely with this yarn. I think it would go quite well too. It would like settle with the yarn well. Definitely good when it's warm toned and when it's deeper, because you could get a very festive effect. There is a navy blue colour that would look good with the gold or with the silver. These colours might look nice with gold. That annoying end is back. So far I'm not really seeing any more damages on it, which is a good thing. It's not shedding fur everywhere. It does feel fuzzy, but it's not shedding it. Let's do... Oops. All together, let's see what they look like. Yeah. It's all pretty good, to be honest. Trying a couple of stitches, variating it slightly. I'm happy with it. It feels very soft. It actually feels very good quality as well. Slightly above your typical budget yarn, but definitely not like the premium quality. It's very nice. I know for a fact it washes well, so if regardless of whether you knit it or crochet it, it should be fine. I haven't noticed any shrinkage, but with acrylic yarn, do be aware if you plan to block it, it's not going to give you very much leeway. It's not like wool, it's not going to stretch out and become longer and longer. It is going to stay fairly rigid. If you are doing it with crochet, be aware that because of the rigidity of the stitches, you may want to do it slightly larger, especially if you're blocking it, or especially if you're doing something that is between sizes, because I don't think it will shrink, but you know, you never know with some of the stitches. Sometimes they can definitely bind up. I can't say for this yarn whether or not it will, because I haven't washed crochet and I don't intend to crochet with it, but this is lovely yarn to work with. Beautiful on the hooks. Let's do the pullback test. Oh no, we have a snag. Didn't have any of this with the knitting. But we may, let's see if it happens again, because that may just be residual from the tail. Can you hear that? Uh-oh, it's not residual from the tail. There is snagging. Oh, that annoys me. Keeping the stitches looser is a must if you want to pull it back with ease, otherwise it can snag. And that's a problem when you have yarns that have all of these long fuzzies on them, is that they do tend to bind up, they do tend to snag and catch around each other, and it can be difficult to pull a project back. So be aware of that when you're working. Now I'm going to show you a couple of the other colours so you can get an idea of this palette. here we have the colours. Of course we have the sunset orange, the vibrant near highlighter but not quite orange, very beautiful, very strong. And here we have, I love this colour. This may actually be my favourite colour from the whole palette, to be honest. This is soil. It is exactly the colour you would expect soil to be. You can see it has a lot of long hairs on this one. It gives it kind of a wool effect though. I kind of like that because I love wool. Wool's my favourite, but wool is very difficult to get dry here, very difficult to care for. So this can be a good substitute if you like, if you want the colours or the effect, but not the hassle. Soil, there we go, exactly what you would expect the colour of soil to be, a deep golden but not the warmest brown. We also have here the chestnuts, we have Amazon green. It's near identical to the blue toned Kelly green from Starcraft. A lot of companies have this colour. I know Signet has one, I know I think Lion Brand has one too in this colour. It's kind of like a tropical blue, very nice, very soft. It's actually softer in this colour. I'm not sure if it's the processing or the dyes that have given it some health, but you can see it still has the fuzzies on it too. And here, last but not least, we have this bright girly pink. I'm not a fan of this name because it's like, why is it called girly pink? Why? It's just pink. It's identical near enough, maybe slightly brighter to Bubblegum in Starcraft. This is again a very generic colour, and this end's finished better than Chestnut was. Very generic colour. Virtually every budget acrylic has this hot, bright pink, cool toned. It's very nice, very bright. It doesn't feel as nice as the Amazon, or as nice. Slightly rougher actually, the Chestnut. This one feels stiffer. It feels a bit chunkier. Yeah, all three of them feel slightly different. I'll put that down to the processing and the dyeing. Like for example, if you bleach things, they're a bit rougher. If you leave them natural, they're very different. Different colours and pigments can affect it differently. But yeah, they're very easy to work with. I love how you don't have to go into either end. Some balls force you to do that, and I don't like that. I love how it's just one is unravelled, you can just get to work and roll it off. Some of these I've seen people put them through a thing and roll it. So that's pretty good. Like I said, I really like the shape of the skeins for these. So yeah. So overall, I would rate this yarn probably a 9 out of 10, considering it is a budget yarn. And for the moment, let's set aside the retail of £3.20 because that's a pretty good price for 200 yards of yarn. It's currently £2.40. I normally only buy it on sale. So for that price, if you want to make a jumper, you could make a jumper for what? Maybe £10, £10 to £15. If you make a very, very, very big jumper, you would probably be looking at maximum like 18 to 20, which is really, really good, especially if you're on a budget or you're looking to make it for someone. Like with kids yarns, if you wanted to use this for kids, that would be perfectly fine. It would cost you a lot less. I love that. I don't love all of the fuzzies on the yarn though. I don't love the way it has that scraggly, scratchy look to it. It's not scratchy. I like things to look crisp and smooth, and that's one of the things I do like about wool, is that you can get it without the fuzzies, especially if you've blocked it. It can look very silky and flowy. It doesn't look as flowy with acrylics in general. This acrylic is fairly stiff, but I wouldn't say it's any more so than any of the other brands out there. It's not itchy on my skin personally. It does have a slight coarseness. Some people will of course be irritated by it, but personally no, I haven't found any reactions to the dyes, anything like that. I'm probably not the best person to test because I'm not really allergy prone, so do be aware of that before you buy it. Being a sustainable yarn, allegedly, using recycled materials, always have to give them a little extra point for that. I would say overall, if you're looking for a budget beginner friendly yarn or just something to make a decent quality item out of that you can wear every day, this is a very good yarn to choose from. I would strongly recommend this. The finished product, the washing, the overall long-term maintenance of it is much better than some of the other yarns within this price range. The colour saturation is good. They have deep colours, bright colours. It is a slightly warmer palette. And the colours online are not quite as accurate. I have my brightness turned up. I was inspecting them. I was changing the filters just to see what they look like. On none of them do the colours identically match the colours in person. This is very bright, but it looks almost like online, almost like a purplish hot deep magenta. It's not that bright. This looks a lot darker and warmer online than it is, but that's the issue with buying yarn online, is it never quite looks the same, and the colours tend to be stock images. So I would say the colours are fairly accurate though, and this soil colour, I absolutely love it. This has to be probably my favourite from the palette. It seems to be the fuzziest though, but some people aren't bothered about that. Like I said, it gives you a wool effect. So yeah, overall very good quality of yarn, definitely recommend, and I'm going to use it for a lot of projects going forward because of how well it washes, because of how comfortable it is, and because of how cheap it is. I love a cheap yarn. I love something I can buy cheaply, make it, wash it, throw it about, wear it, and it lasts for years, and that's exactly what I'm going to get with this. For me, that's where the biggest value comes from. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below, of course, and I hope to see you in the next video.